Welcome back. Thank you. You're watching Let's Talk Juggling. We have our next guest today, Richard Hartnell from the US. Welcome, Richard.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. You've traveled a long way to be here at the EJC.
Yeah, I came over from California a week ago. I've been hanging out in Amsterdam for a week just to explore the city and all that. It's my first time in Holland. It's been a really good time.
Yeah. And today we're talking about run by jugglers, for jugglers, and behind the scenes of juggling conventions. Would you like to tell the viewers why you are a guest on today's show? What has been your involvement with conventions?
Yeah, so I've thrown a couple of juggling conventions, most recently the Santa Cruz Juggling Convention, which is in Santa Cruz, California, not Santa Cruz, Venezuela. And before that I was involved building the workshop schedule and working on the workshop team for Fire Drums, which was at the time the biggest fire festival in the USA.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about, because I'm not sure, I haven't been to any juggling conventions in the States. I've only had the great pleasure of being to ones in Europe. Can you tell us a little bit about the Santa Cruz Juggling Festival? Because first of all, you call it a festival, you don't call it a convention.
It used to be the Santa Cruz Juggling Festival, but because we run the event on grants from the University of California, we started calling it the Santa Cruz Juggling Convention because it looks better on a grant application. Also because the University of California, Santa Cruz, abbreviates to UCSC, and we thought that calling it the Juggling Convention would allow us to abbreviate it UCSCJC, which we like.
Okay, so it was more about getting a different acronym, more so.
As well as if we go to a university and say we want to have, we want some money to throw a convention, it sounds very different from saying we want some money to throw a festival, because non-jugglers don't really, the first question they ask us is, there's such a thing as juggling conventions?
Yes,
and we have to explain to them, like, yes, it's a meeting of jugglers, we get together to workshop and throw shows and that kind of thing, instead of saying, hey, will you buy us a big party?
Is the structure the same? Do you have the workshops? Do you have open stage? Do you have renegade? Do you have gala show? Do you have the same sort of format as the European style?
Yeah, same deal. It's a three-day event. We have open gym every day. We get a big university gym for free. Yes. And then we've got a renegade show on Friday night, a gala show on Saturday night, and then in Santa Cruz, it's a beach town. So there's like these big cliffs that overlook the water. There's a ton of surfers out, and there's been a weekly fire jam there every week, every Sunday night for years and years and years. So we close the gym at like 4 or 5 p.m. on Sunday after games and an auction or a raffle, and then everybody goes down to the fire jam to close the whole weekend.
Okay, yeah, it sounds amazing. So, and with fire drums, that's different again, because it's a bigger...
Yeah, fire drums is more like a workshop retreat, so it's not really open to the public. The Santa Cruz Convention, our grants go well enough that we're able to throw the event for free. The only people who end up getting...
So you don't pay for a ticket at the...
No, you just show up.
Okay.
And
that's amazing.
We pay all of the gala artists a little bit, and that's pretty much where the money goes. That and T-shirts and some promo and that sort of thing. Fire Drums is more like it's like a workshop retreat. It's like a camping festival way out in the woods somewhere. It's always within a couple hours of San Francisco, and that's workshops all day, every day. I think there's like 15 simultaneous workshop slots usually, and that's usually a lot of the fire props, poi hoop and sticks, and but there's been a big meshing of the manipulation communities in the USA. Historically, there's been kind of a separation of like the juggling scene and the fire spinning scene and the hooping scene. But on the west coast of the USA, they're all growing together very strongly right now. So everybody kind of tends to hang out together.
And we actually have a whole show about that on Saturday's show. We'll be looking at juggling and the flow arts, which you will also be joining us for a guest there. So we might leave that one for a little bit until Saturday. So what you're saying, there's not so much difference between the conventions, juggling conventions in the States to here. Is it the same with volunteering? Do you have volunteers?
At Fire Drums, yeah, there's an expectation that people will volunteer for 1 or 2 hours throughout the weekend. The whole thing is run by volunteers. So, we hang out in circus studios for half the year and plan the workshops and the grounds and all that kind of stuff. The structure of Fire Drums is a bit different. And now there's a model that's sort of parallel to juggling conventions, which is like, open gym and then renegade and then gala show, maybe an open stage, and then games, right? With the fire festivals, there's still workshops all day, every day, and there's like a big kind of a main play area, which is the big field that doubles as like the gym. And then at night, it's usually like bass music and fire spinning all night long. Maybe there'll be a show. They've just started having like shows now, but before it was mostly just workshops all day and then fire spinning all night. Kind of like in the fire space out here, which is honestly the best fire space I think I've seen it in EJC so far.
Okay, that's a big compliment then, I think, for the organisers, because I believe you've probably seen a lot of fire spaces, so that's wonderful. I think I'd like to just ask you very quickly about some other projects that you are involved in.
Yeah, so I lead a sort of double life right now. In the warm season, I travel and tour as a circus performer. I primarily perform contact juggling. I do some toss juggling and fire spinning and stuff as well, but primarily one ball is my thing. After the EJC, I'll go off to the Edinburgh Festival to throw street shows and make my money back on this trip. But in the cold season, I study cognitive neuroscience at the University of California, Santa Cruz. We're working on neuroimaging and meditation studies and that sort of thing. And I want to eventually do research on why juggling and meditation seem to have something to do with each other and other sort of dissociative states. It's just been too strange to me over too many years that people walk up at my show and say, "Oh, it looks like you're meditating right now." And I tell them, "Oh yeah, well you have to clear your mind to do this, and then doing it clears your mind." So it's this like positive feedback loop, this like healthy thing. And to every juggler who I say I want to do like science with juggling, they go, because it's beneficial to humans, they go, "Oh yeah, duh." But how do we prove it to non-jugglers, right? So this week, I think I'm launching a crowdsourcing project to build a lab designed to be used for circus people to study sort of the brain waves and the effects in the body of juggling and other forms of circus arts. As well as gamers and meditators and some other crews. So that'll be a topic in my. I'm teaching I'm giving like a discussion on neuroscience of learning and flow on Friday afternoon. It's on the workshop board, and we'll talk about it all there.
Okay, yes, Friday afternoon on the workshop board.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, on the health benefits of juggling show, which we will be running on Tuesday, we'll also be touching on this juggling as meditation. Yes, and unfortunately, we have run out of time today, Richard. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
And thanks for inviting me out.
Yeah, and be sure, ladies and gentlemen, to join us for tomorrow's show, where we're going to be talking about juggling and community. So thank you to all our guests today, and we hope you have an awesome day at the EJC today.